Welcome! In this part, we will talk about the asynchronous Kafka actors in Macintosh. Besides the HTTP mocking capabilities, Macintosh is able to mock the asynchronous tasks through communicating with the message queues. To be able to work with asynchronous Kafka actors, you first need an Apache Kafka instance up and running. So you can head over to kafka.apache.org/quickstart and follow the instructions in Step 1 and Step 2, or you can use the Apache Kafka Docker image that's maintained by the Macintosh team. At this point, you should have an Apache Kafka instance listening to port 9092. Now, let's define a Kafka service. A Macintosh service can have the optional field type to define what type of a service it is. The type defaults to HTTP. To have a service that will contain Kafka mocks, you should set the type field to Kafka and the required field address to the hostname and port of the target Apache Kafka instance. The Actors field is a list Kafka actors to mock the asynchronous tasks. An actor can have only one of these roles: validating consumers, on-demand producers, scheduled producers, and reactive producers. And the role is determined automatically by how you define the actor. A validating consumer is an asynchronous actor that has only the consume field and not the produce, delay, or limit fields. So a validating consumer in its simplest form is a consumer with only the queue field present, such that this consumer will consume every possible message in the topic 1. Let's create the topic 1 and produce an example message using the Kafka shell scripts. Then, visit the Management UI to validate if the message is consumed. A more complex validating consumer example would be having key, value, and headers fields defined using regex helper to describe the criteria for matching to incoming messages, such that this actor expects key to have a prefix, value to have a suffix, and a header named client ID to be a number. An on-demand producer is an asynchronous actor that has only the produce field and not the consume, delay, or limit fields. These kind of actors can be triggered using either the Management API through the actor index or the name, or the Management UI, and they produce the exact message according to the actor description. Notice how templating is possible in key, value, and headers. So let's create and start to listen the templated producer topic using the shell scripts. Then do a post request to localhost 8080/async/producers/0 and another post request to localhost 8080/async/producers/templated-producer. Now head over to the Management UI and trigger this producer for the third time. You can see that how it's logged into the consumer that we started through the shell scripts. Using the same logic, a validating consumer can consume a message produced by an on-demand producer or any other producer. A scheduled producer is an asynchronous actor that has the required produce and delay fields and an optional limit field, but not the consume field. In this example, the producer triggered for each 2 seconds up to 100 times. It starts to being triggered as soon as Macintosh is initialized. It's logical to set the create field to true for creating the topic if the topic is missing. By default, it's set to false. Create field is available for all kind of producers. If the limit is not specified, then the scheduled producer runs indefinitely. A reactive producer is kind of a wired-up version of a validating consumer. and an on-demand producer, such that if a validating consumer has also the produce field, then it automatically becomes a reactive producer. In this example, whenever a message is consumed from the topic 3, a message is produced into the topic 4 after a 3 seconds delay. Notice that consumed object is available to use in the templating of a reactive producer with the purpose of passing the information from the consumer to the producer, just like how the request object works in the HTTP mocks. You can find the examples given in this video at the description. I hope that you liked it. See you later again in a new video. Take care. Goodbye.